So the idea of this panel is mainly to focus on practical issues of information systems. And of course, we are all in universities, right? So we are teaching people to become information systems professionals. And tomorrow we'll have another panel that will be very focused in the more academic side of formation of our students. They will be mainly concerned with our doctoral programs and how can we excel in being more academic. Today, our idea was, well, but most of our students will not become academics. They will go into the fields and they will work. And the challenge is that they will be hired by companies that don't know what information systems is, right? In fact, in many of our schools, I believe that happens, right? We have to keep telling our colleagues, maybe the computer scientists or the software engineer. Well, software engineers are closer to us, but the computer engineers that are more in the middle of the way between us and electronics, all of those guys, when they look at information systems, they say, what do these guys do, right? So our challenge here is to think of what are we doing with respect to forming a new generation of information systems people that will be in the fields. And of course, we have a panel in which we have Jeimy Cano from Colombia. We have Ariel La Paz to give us a perspective from Chile. We have Edimara Mezzomo to give a perspective from Brazil. And Aurora and I are here sort of to give you some questions, ask you some questions and say, what are you doing to make sure that when our professionals get to work, they're not mixed up with computer scientists and computer engineers, and they still have, what is their edge? In which way are we preparing them to be different to computer scientists and to computer engineers? Ariel, I think you're the first one that will have to leave, right? So maybe we could kick it to you and have a few of your thoughts of what we're doing or what we should be doing to have better professionals.
Well, I don't know if I can tell what we should be doing, but I can tell you what's been working well in my field. First of all, I work in a business school, so that I think is one of the big differences of the input that we receive. One of the things is how do we moderate or how we chain in the right way the expectations of our students, who are very young people, just coming out of high school. They think they will be the next Mark Zuckerberg. Maybe they think that they're going to be hackers. They're going to build the next unicorn company. And that's a lot of good energy, but still we have to let them know what they are really going to be doing when they finish university. So that's one of the issues, I think. And the information systems seems to be a kind of an abstract concept for them. They think it's a mix of computer systems. They know TikTok, they know Instagram, they know social networkings, but they're not yet familiar with what is
gamers, right?
Right. What is the productive stuff on information systems? How do people do accounting stuff, logistics? And that's kind of the boring stuff for them at that age. But once they're with us, one thing I have practiced for more than 10 years now is working with capstoning projects. So that's one very practical way to work with them. It's been fantastic for companies, for my students. I make them to be like consultants. So in my university, we have a unit that help us find companies with real problems, issues about managing information. No software brand names are given beforehand. We just take the problem. We fall in love with the problem first. And what I do is I come up with at least 2 teams per institution, per company, who face the challenge. And of course, I make them compete. I give them a bonus in the final grade. So that's, they do a very good effort. But not only with the effort, it also helps me as a professor to have practical topics and make sure I not only teach them how to design software, how to, the technical stuff, but also I make them work in teams. I also make them to learn how to deal with a client, which are these companies. So this has been a fantastic experience. In several cases, companies hire later the same students to follow up with the projects as consultants. Some students fall in love with information systems when they see that, oh yeah, I can fix a problem, I can find a solution. It is highly appreciated by companies. So I think in my case, this is one thing that has been working very well so far.
So your first suggestion is try to have projects, real projects that bring them closer to problems that they will find in their work environment afterwards.
Yeah, and my work with my students is just to guide them to see how they are now innovative. They find, they search for budgets in different software suppliers. So they do a very good job. You squeeze them enough and they give you the juice. So that's my job now.
Jeimy, from my understanding is that Jeimy comes from a more computer, let's say computer science school, right? Or yeah.
Yes.
But are you still, do you still have part of your students that end up becoming more like what we call information systems, in the sense that they're in the middle of the way, or not?
Bueno, I try to speak in Spanish, not in English, in Spanish.
Let me see here if there is any problem. We should do it in Spanish.
Okay.
Oh, we have Donna there. Donna is no problem. Donna, of course, Donna is from Panama. Do you have anyone that would not understand Jeimy speaking Spanish? Go for it, Jeimy.
Ok. Pues mira, en esa pregunta que tú haces y escuchando ahorita, Ariel, en Colombia el tema siempre ha sido que el tema de sistemas de información sigue siendo un tema de dónde ubicarlo. Hoy por hoy, el tema de las escuelas de ciencias de la computación, o lo que llamamos nosotros en Colombia ingeniería de sistemas, ¿sí? Systems Engineer, ¿sí? Han tomado parte del tema de sistemas de información y han desarrollado como un nuevo perfil para las personas que estamos en Computer Science. Entonces, generalmente no se encuentra en las facultades de administración las temáticas de sistemas de información. Se encuentran en las facultades de ciencias de la computación, o lo que en Colombia se denomina, digamos, ingeniería de sistemas, ¿sí? Porque aquí hay cualquier cantidad de denominaciones, ¿sí? Ingeniería de sistemas, ya por ejemplo, en mi universidad, la denominación es ingeniería de sistemas y computación, ¿sí? Pero entonces, si me preguntan a mí, por ejemplo, ya después de tanto tiempo, ¿usted qué es, Jeimy? ¿Ingeniero de sistemas o ingeniero de computación? Yo le digo, yo soy ingeniero de sistemas, ¿sí? Yo soy ingeniero de sistemas, ¿sí? Me he dedicado más de 25 años a trabajar desde la perspectiva de System Science y particularmente orientado en el tema de seguridad, ciberseguridad, auditoría, todo lo que tiene que ver con gestión de tecnología, ha sido siempre como ese foco. ¿Qué es lo que he visto yo? Que efectivamente desde la práctica, de alguna manera, en mi práctica como profesor y en mi práctica como consultor, veo que los estudiantes cuando llegan al final, hay una serie de temáticas que siempre o generalmente tienen en mente. Lo comentaba Ariel, quieren ser hackers, ¿sí? Otros quieren ser de alguna manera gerentes de tecnología, otros quieren ser particularmente especialistas en desarrollo de software, otros, por ejemplo, ahorita está de moda el tema de analítica de datos o científico de datos y cosas de esas. Pero finalmente la disciplina de sistemas de información, como digamos, se ha venido tradicionalmente estudiando, digamos, siempre le ha costado, por lo menos en Colombia, ubicarse claramente en algún sitio o de alguna manera, por ejemplo, salir o decir que tenemos una sola facultad dedicada a sistemas de información. Entonces, generalmente termina ubicada en el área de, digámoslo así, del Departamento de Ingeniería de Sistemas, una facultad de ingeniería, asociado o colindante con el tema de ciencias de la computación. Ahora bien, solo un comentario adicional. ¿Qué es lo que he visto yo que de alguna manera funciona? ¿Sí? En el tema de aprendizaje, para poder comprender, uno necesita practicar. ¿Sí? No es suficiente, como decía un profesor que tuve la oportunidad de conocer hace mucho tiempo, muchos de ustedes de pronto en Estados Unidos lo conocen, que es el profesor Russell Ackoff, decía, nosotros los profesores estamos cometiendo de alguna manera algo que no está bien. ¿Sí? ¿Y qué es? Que le estamos enseñando a nuestros estudiantes a resolver los problemas que ya nosotros resolvimos. ¿Sí? Entonces, técnicamente los estamos preparando para un mundo que técnicamente ya no existe. ¿Sí? Y ese es el reto que de alguna manera nos toca a nosotros como profesores, es abrir el espacio para poder retarnos a nosotros mismos y comenzar a avanzar con ellos en esos escenarios que técnicamente para nosotros también son inciertos. Y ese es realmente el ejercicio de la práctica empresarial que generalmente los estudiantes llevan al final de las carreras, que permiten conectarnos con el mundo real y realmente entender cuál es la problemática y la dinámica que se está dando en las organizaciones respecto de la práctica de tecnología y de sistemas de información.
This is a very interesting situation that you're posing there. This question of, well, when we teach our students to solve problems, do we actually teach them to formulate better problems to be solved as well? And I think that this is probably one of the challenges that we'll have to the future. It will probably be one of a second round of questions that I'm not sure that if you're going to be here with us any longer because you have to teach your class, right? But we'll get to that. We'll have to think about what we are teaching our students and what we have to teach to remain relevant in the future. Maybe now let's have a round there with Edimara. So we already have a perspective from a business school, a perspective from someone who's coming from an engineering school. I understand that it happens everywhere in the world that sometimes we are more connected to engineering, sometimes we're more connected to business and information systems. I wonder, and to think about the future, I wonder if we will not have to be connected to sociology or even to philosophy in the future, if we are to remain relevant, considering that information systems is not necessarily a business or a business any longer, it's part of our lives, right? But anyway, maybe Jeimy, could you tell us a little bit of what you're doing at the Catholic University in Rio Grande do Sul with respect to forming students to become good professionals in information systems, in whatever language?
Ok. Estoy estudiando español, pero ainda no lo puedo hablar en español. Tal vez en el próximo ISLA. Estoy en las clases, estoy estudiando. Thank you so much, Alexandre and Aurora, for the invitation to be part of this panel. I was there in Curitiba in the first ISLA, so it was a face-to-face event and was really interesting to be part of that event that was like right at its beginning, and it's really nice to see how ISLA is nowadays, and so all of the things that were done, and the size and the importance of conference. So congratulations, Alexandre, to you and all other Latin American partners involved. Well, so here the strategy that we have been using is service learning. It's an important strategy for the whole university. So I am from a business school too, as Ariel. But since we had a project financed by Erasmus that was related to service learning, we have been using it. So if I think about my 10 last years teaching in the 5 before, we were trying with flipped classroom, It was interesting at the beginning, but our students, they work, some of them work like more than 44 hours a week. So it's a bit tricky because most of them, they really don't have time to prepare the classes. So before the classes, and so we flipped our classroom to the service learning strategy. And the results have been good. So we have a set of companies that are partners of the whole university. So many courses are connected to this company. So they are developing the content in class in a kind of a partnership for these companies. And we have a set of specific companies for our school and some specific courses for specific partners for some specific contents. And the results have been good, so it's a bit easier to students to engage in a discussion that to them is not theoretical. I don't know exactly in your countries, but here students, they try to consider that anything that is theoretical is not good, even if it is an interesting discussion. So with these companies, we have 1, 2, or 3 representatives of these companies, these partner companies, and we have like the semester together. The students prepare interviews to collect the data. In some courses, we visited the companies, especially this semester. So last semester, we are starting a new semester. And so now it's possible, the COVID regulations are down, so we can visit these companies or government or neighborhood with a group of students. And so you mentioned a bit more about one course that I am involved. We have been teaching smart cities, and it's a mandatory undergrad class. It's 2 groups of 30 students, and we have been discussing capacities for smart cities. And we chose a neighborhood each semester. So it started before the pandemic, and we restarted last semester. And we take a bus, and we go to our students to visit some neighborhoods. So last semester was a kind of a poor neighborhood in the city. And so the students are in contact with people who are living there. And so it's a way to match the dilemma, theoretical and practical classes. So it's it's one strategy that is service learning, that in some specific classes we can visit companies, governments, or in this case neighborhoods association. So it's a bit of strategies that have been working in our fight in every class with tiredness, with social networks, and with everything that has a light or something popping up. And it's a kind of good, and also for us. When you started discussing the necessity of more practical classes, was some people saying students, it's unbearable to them stay like 4 hours listening. And I was saying it's unbearable for us too, for us professors. We need to have something more active in the class. So this is a bit about the strategies we have been applying here.
It seems to me, Edimara, from your report, that it's you're trying to do something like the capstone projects that Ariel develops there in Chile, except that it seems that you're more already a little more oriented to society, or let's when you talk about smart cities, and not necessarily only to companies, which seem to be a trend in information systems. Again, considering that, of course, we were a field that was originally focused on bringing technology to companies. Nowadays, companies already have that technology, and we see that people have the same technology in their pockets, right? These days, or computers, they carry a computer in their pockets. So our role may be changing a bit. And before we get to our future role, I just wanted to see Jose Antonio has provoked us here, Aurora, with this issue that many students well, actually the parents of the students in Peru, and I believe it happens in many of our Latin American countries, are still focused on having their kids be, well, he didn't say, he said that the parents want the kids to be engineers. I would say that in all of Latin America, it seems that the parents want the kids to be either medical doctors or lawyers or engineers, right? And when we state that, it seems that we are in a second-class profession. In that sense, Aurora, it seems that information systems is sort of a second-class profession because most of our programs are not called, we don't have the luck that Jeimy has of calling it Engenharia de Sistemas, no? Many times it's just a bachelor in information systems. And when they get to work, they are the bachelors, and there is another guy who got a diploma in engineering. Do you feel that in Chile, do you feel that someone who has a bachelor's in information systems degree gets in a unprivileged situation in the market to the engineer? And how are you coping with that, considering that you're also in a business school?
Yeah, but you know, Ariel can say that too. We have an engineer title in front of the information, you know, and control, because exactly as
oh, so you're cheating. You're cheating
there. Yeah, they say
there.
Ingeniería en Información y Control de Gestión, because this is true about the cultural issues. Most of the engineers get a better pay, you know, so in the market it is better recognized. So, but these are in the business schools. You know, the business schools offer this engineering career, but it's a mix between business and engineering as a normal profession. So what we have seen is this has been, I think, it took longer to be recognized, as Ariel can said, in Chile, Ingeniería en Información y Control de Gestión, but now most of the university has this career, and our students, you know, are very fast into the market. They don't have a long time to find a job because already they know, you know, how useful this is. I think the major problem is not that the students don't get a career, you know, fast or get into the market. I think our colleagues, I don't know if Ariel agrees with me, our colleagues don't know information systems. And when the students ask them about other disciplines in business, they are not understanding clearly what is this discipline, MIS. I don't know if you agree with me, but this is a major drawback, because our students don't understand until they are, you know, second year, what is this information system, because they just have a couple of courses with this topic, but the other professors, you know, are talking about something else because they are not so much into the profession.
Maybe we could have some of Ariel's thoughts about that before he has to quickly race to the airport to go and represent us at UMSIS, right?
Yeah, thanks. Well, actually, I agree very much with Aurora. And another phenomenon I see is that our students who already are with us just get to know what they are studying after the third year in a university. So they had a lot of courses in math, right? In science, economics, technology, and just later on, when they are senior students, they get to know what they are actually studying and what they are going to do for the rest of their lives at work. Right. Well, I think also it's a matter of communication. We are missing something as people think that everything is informatics or computer science when they come to information systems. So maybe this is something we need to improve on, how we pass the message of what actually we do.
Yeah, I think that that's one of our main dilemmas in if we want to be recognized as a different fields to engineering, right? I mean, I understand the appealing, how appealing it is to be called an engineer in a world that gave so much value to engineers. I'm an electronics engineer myself, but at the same time, I think that if we want to make our students feel valuable for what they really are, as information systems professionals, we'll have to show the differences that exist between what an engineer can do and what they can do. And my to try and provoke you into the next question that would be about what do we have to do in the future. I have to tell you what I tell my my information system students when they come and they feel that they are well, they have professors that teach them and then go there and teach the engineers, right? And they say, well, our professors think that we are second-class students. And I keep telling them, well, you better tell them to teach you really well because you're going to be the bosses of the engineers at the other end of the corridor. Because, you know, engineers are great, and being an engineer myself, I have to admit that engineers are great at solving problems. The issue is that most companies will make much more value in the market if they're able to generate good to generate good problems and then get the engineers to solve them, right? And so maybe the information systems professionals are those people that will understand the possibilities of technology in you know, generating new opportunities for companies, which usually the engineers are incapable of doing. And I'm provoking Jeimy here because he's in engineering school. And before he says, I also have to go and teach my class, I want to hear him.
Pero por supuesto, Alexander, que me estás provocando, por supuesto. Claro. A ver, aquí hay dos cosas importantes. Una cosa es que en el área de ingeniería como tal, se está formando, por lo menos en Colombia y en varias facultades, no solamente en la universidad donde he podido trabajar y en otras universidades. El perfil de Information Systems no existe técnicamente así en el pregrado como tal. Está la formación estructural base del Computer Science, ¿sí? Y al final tú tienes como algunos énfasis para poderte ir para sistemas de información, para arquitectura de software, arquitectura de TI. Entonces, lo más cercano, o inclusive sistemas de información, porque algunas ya tienen esos énfasis o esos minors que les llaman así, para que hagan como el énfasis al final de la carrera. Entonces, digamos que eso ha sido como la lectura que se ha dado, ¿sí? Pero lo importante aquí es que en la formación estructural, alguien podría decir, una persona que trabaja en sistemas de información tiene que conocer de la estructura base de Computer Science, ¿sí? Tiene que conocer de la estructura base de System Science, ¿sí? Que son parte integral de alguna manera de ese profesional que, como tú bien acabas de decir, trata de mirar cómo le saca mejor provecho a la tecnología a favor de la ventaja competitiva que pueda desarrollar una organización, ¿sí? Y eso está muy bien. Pero igual la podría hacer un ingeniero. Entonces, la pregunta que se haría, por ejemplo, un headhunter es, ¿a quién contrato para generar ese tipo de retos? ¿Contrato a un ingeniero que tiene claridad de la tecnología, que sabe exactamente cómo modelar? ¿O contrato a una persona de sistemas de información que está formada en el negocio, que está formada en el lenguaje de la dinámica de la tecnología apoyando el negocio? ¿A quién contrato? Entonces comienza, por ejemplo, un reto importante que yo lo he visto y siempre cada vez que hablo con las personas que están encargadas de los programas, les pregunto, dentro de los grupos de interés que ustedes preguntan y convocan para mirar cómo está saliendo el profesional a cumplir con su labor en las organizaciones, ¿ustedes llaman a los headhunters? Y muchos me dicen que no. Le dice, pero si ellos son los que contratan, si ellos no tienen claro ese perfil, ¿cómo los van a contratar? Entonces, no es suficiente con que nosotros formemos las personas y les demos todas esas claridades que ustedes están comentando aquí, cuando las personas que contratan no tienen claridad acerca de cuáles son las distinciones para poder generar mayor valor en la organización desde la perspectiva práctica, como lo estamos revisando ahorita.
Maybe we can have Ariel give his last bit of thought here before he leaves the room. As we say in Portuguese, we say a francesa. I don't know if you say that in Spanish as well. When you leave very discreetly. Ariel, do you think that we at the information system schools are good in advertising what our students are able to do to the headhunters, or do they have to go there and smash their, or convince whoever is going to hire them that they are good at something?
What I've seen is that our students are our best marketing weapon, because what they do when they get to work, they start aligning, discovering the big issues, the business issues, problems in business processes, with information messing, and they start to come up with solutions, not just technological solutions. Sometimes it's a mix, redefining the role of a user, accessing sensitive information, using in some cases, some simple tool to come up with an organized data. And in that way, I think they are a good marketing weapon, because they do things, they do practical things that are not the same things that engineers do. So they kind of, I think that's our method. That's how in the case of the university I work, it's been working. Companies have a very high appreciation to our former students, because they're capable of doing these things, alignment, problem solving, not with technology, but integrally, systemically. Yeah, we kind of reinforce them.
But you think that the market is able to distinguish what an engineer can do and what an information systems person can do?
Yeah, at the end, companies come to us and ask for this kind of specific professional, even though they don't know the name of the profession exactly. But they know these guys can do this. They fix these problems that we have not been fixing before.
Edimara, what do you think that is our experience here in Brazil with, do companies know what an information systems professional is able to do?
I think they don't know. I think that it's still the imaginary, in the like a social imaginary, that is everything related to like softwares or hardware is related just to computer science. And but maybe bigger companies that have a more structured process of looking at people, but it's still a bit difficult, I think, to make it clear. Taking the as an example, our area on UNPAD. So Cesar is here. Cesar maybe can help me. Yeah, every new student, master or PhD student I needed to explain how it is our information system area, that is called in Portuguese like information management. And so the students with more social related subject, they tell me I need to go to public management. It's no, we have this. We have been starting this subject since the 1989 when this division started. And yeah, so I think it's necessary to stay like spreading the message from time to time. It is not that clear, at least here in Rio Grande do Sul. I don't know if in other states, but yeah, and some professions like being in engineering is still really strong, because yeah, the social value is better in Brazil than business administration. So yeah, but I think it is not that clear And we need to stay discussing this from time to time.
Yeah, I don't know if considering that Cesar is already there, maybe Cesar has, well, Edimara and Cesar are very involved with the coordination of our community, our information systems community in Brazil, at least the part of the information systems community that gathers around business schools, because I've seen also some people there, I can't see anyone right now, but I noticed earlier today that we also had a few people that here in Brazil do that from a computer science department perspective. But maybe Cesar, bring you into the panel here, considering that you're there. What is your feeling about what happens in the area of São Paulo, and is it clear I mean, when you have a graduate in information systems, does the market know what this guy knows?
I'm not sure, Alexandre. I'm not sure if the market, well, I'm not a professor at the information systems course. We have Violeta soon here. Maybe she can add to it better than me, but I'm not sure if the market differentiates well between information systems and information technology, and the market sees the IT guy, you know, IT people, IT guy. This is I think the market doesn't differentiate, but I think the market differentiate between engineers and bachelors. I think it's my impression. I'm not sure about this. Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, this is interesting, and this may be the case in other countries as well. That it's still and I think that's something that Jeimy was touching on. I mean, we may teach our students what their profession is about, but does the market know? I also have this impression that here in Brazil, the market doesn't know what an information systems bachelor, let's say someone who graduates in information systems, in which way this professional is different to a computer scientist or to a computer engineer, right? I know, well, Guillermo has, I think last year at the research seminars in information systems, Guillermo has given a speech on how AIS differentiates this all these different groups, right? And it's great. I think we know the difference.
It's more
between
ACM and IEEE, actually.
Yeah, ACM as well, and I think we sort of know what each one of those professionals, what would be the, let's say, the competence of each of those professions, but the market doesn't. That's my impression here in Brazil, and that leads us to think what we have to do in the future. And of course, most of us here are concerned with Cesar is not involved in the undergraduate school, but then of course he has the graduate students in the business school that take a graduate course in information systems. How do they advertise themselves to the market afterwards if they do not want to become a professor at a university? Because professors will, I mean, we know what the information systems field is, but how do they advertise themselves to the markets? And maybe this is the challenge that I would like to hear some of the other panelists there. Well, Aurora, you're one of the moderators, and so maybe you could.
I wanted to add what you say exactly. You know, when we created this program in Chile called Ingeniería en Información, we start doing something new, and the students are well positioned because the companies recognize that they can do things. I think the same that Ariel said, but still, you know, I think we have to be careful. And professors come to the school with a lot of computer backgrounds and start moving the career that they used to be toward the computer science. That has been happening lately because there is so many new technologies that professors have tended to teach them a lot of programming, a lot of, you know, algorithm and things that are not a little getting far from business. So that's something that we have to have always to be careful when we are moving our curricula, and when we have a lot of problem for accreditations in this career in Chile. because it was not known. So they have to create new ways to accreditate this career, and also try to let them know, you know, the accreditation committees, that what this about, that it was new. So I think there is a lot of things, issues that are still working, and we professors need to be very careful, you know, in the new curriculum, and also working with the companies and the accreditation program. So it's a lot of things to do.
Alexandre, Gladys, and Violeta have their hands raised for a while.
Please, Gladys and Violeta.
Yes, I wanted to ask the panelists, what about the, I would say, front end or the output of all these efforts in creating systems in organization, which is now taking us to the analytics side of things? How much have your universities or your programs absorbed that that aspect of the professional craft? Because I think that's one of the things that is actually gaining importance and attracting a lot of interest, is them being able to, because the organizational knowledge allows them to do a much better job in interpreting or deriving the implications of this data analysis than sometimes the back end, you know, engineers that create those systems can.
Mm-hmm. Who wants to start that, to answering that, and we'll go to your question. Maybe Violeta, do you want to? Yeah, okay. Oh, Jeimy is going. Jeimy is going. It's right. Thank you, Jeimy.
Okay. Gracias, Gladys, por esa pregunta, porque mira, ahora lo que se está viendo de alguna manera, por lo menos aquí en el país y en muchas otras latitudes donde he tenido la oportunidad de compartir con otros profesores, que es más un perfil interdisciplinar, es decir, más interdisciplinar. Hoy por hoy, por ejemplo, el tema de la ciencia de datos lo están haciendo todas las disciplinas. Entonces me he encontrado con cursos y de formación de ciencia de datos fuera de los dominios del área de ciencias de la computación. Entonces, por ejemplo, encuentro en la facultad de contaduría pública, accounting, un curso de data analytics, formando gente en data analytics. También encuentro ese mismo curso en el área de ciencias sociales para hacer analítica de aprendizaje. O sea, son una serie de características que vienen de alguna manera desarrollándose muy en la perspectiva interdisciplinar. La pregunta que de alguna manera comienza a hacerse uno en este ejercicio que comienza a ver esta tendencia a nivel internacional es, ¿será que esto será solo dominio del área de sistemas de información y de ciencias de la computación? ¿O será una competencia que se deberá incorporar en las diferentes disciplinas para salir del analfabetismo de los datos o el data literacy, que es de alguna manera el nuevo analfabetismo que estamos viendo a nivel, digamos, global? Y para poder irme, quiero dejar una reflexión a propósito de la pregunta de Alexandre acerca del futuro, ¿sí? Acerca del futuro del tema de sistemas de información, que está muy en la línea del tema de aprendizaje. Y es de un libro que estoy recientemente leyendo y que me ha traído muchas reflexiones y las quisiera compartir con ustedes para dejarlas plasmadas aquí en este panel con estas respuestas. Dice, cuanto más nueva es una situación o menor su similitud con situaciones de aprendizaje anteriores, más problemático será el aprendizaje y más retador será el proceso para el profesor. Al mismo tiempo, cuanto más cambios sean los contextos de uso del conocimiento, más necesaria es la transferencia y por lo tanto más necesario abordar el aprendizaje como un problema y no como un simple ejercicio. Y ese ejercicio precisamente es el que nos corresponde a nosotros en una disciplina que por definición es interdisciplinar. Tenemos que conocer de ciencias de la computación, tenemos que conocer del negocio, tenemos que conocer de la gente, tenemos que conocer de los procesos, tenemos que conocer de muchas cosas. Entonces, necesariamente construir ese paradigma de sistemas de información implica tener un pensamiento sistémico y ahora en el contexto en el cual nos movemos ecosistémico porque estamos articulados y atrapados por las plataformas a nivel global. Entonces es un poco, digamos, esa la reflexión a la luz del comentario que claramente hizo Gladys, que nos permite ver y, digamos, explorar hacia adelante los retos que tenemos en esta disciplina. Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias, Jeimy. All right. If Jeimy is also leaving the French way without
Gladys, tu micrófono está cerrado.
Jeimy, if you can include a reference on the chat.
Ah, sí,
Oh, yeah.
ya les incluyo el libro.
Gracias.
Before you leave, include the reference in the chat.
Claro que
Violeta,
sí.
please. Violeta?
Yeah, I just wanted to compliment what Cesar said about the area, because I teach in the information systems course. And one thing is that the market, they don't care. Because they like professionals, IT professionals in general. I think it's something all around the world. But I think the main thing is that there are a lot of data scientists. Yes, they are very keen on dealing with data, but they don't know about the business. So that's what I try to tell the students. No matter how good you are in, I'm sure you are very good in collecting and getting information out of data, but you need to understand what you're getting out of it. So that's the main difficulty, I think, because they are all very young and they think they rule the world, but then when it comes to business, they have to really enter what they are doing and understand the language. Yes, and so that's what I think IS has a difference when we come to business and understanding a little bit of what human being wants to understand and get out of this data. So that's what we try to put in our students' heads. Some of this idea is just you are going to work with computers, but the problems you will have is with people. So you have to understand people. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Jeimy's leaving.
Jeimy's leaving. He's not
Adios.
leaving the French way. He's not leaving the French way. He's going like that, like.
Yeah, this is not our French way. Alexandre, going back to the root of your question, this is not just an information systems. For example, marketing professionals and the ones from publicity. Companies doesn't know the differences. Oh, so you are from publicity. Oh no, I am from marketing. Oh, but you are defining marketing campaigns. So I think it's part of the differences on the kind of real world and the regulations, the assessment we have that is always specific about fields. But on the day by day is not like that. So I think it's not just an information system. This happens, but it happens in a more like a classical areas like a marketing too. And I would like to agree totally with Violeta's comment. They don't know clearly how they what kind of professional they need. So like labeling. But so it's our so it's important. Jeimy mentioned this also to go to more interdisciplinary centers or courses. It's still a bit difficult because of our regulations. But for example, we have a center for research and teaching about analytics, and we have professors and students from computer science, engineering, business administration, like our kind of public administration, sociology, and so we are discussing decision making. So we are going back to Herbert Simon's theory. And it's interesting because they can see the value. So people that are more connected about doing the data analytics, they are perceiving that they need to have like a problem or understand very well a problem before or during applying it. So maybe a way is to create structures when all of these areas of knowledge, they can work together and collaborate. Because there are lots of regulations, like a federal government regulations in our case. I'll give you an example. We had a business analysis courses in Brazil from 1973, I think, was allowed to have this course. But in 2005, the federal government decided that these courses would not be able to continue on business schools, that was necessary to change the name, that the business analyst and information system was the same. So in my university at that time, we had a very good system analysis course, which started in 1973, and another one for information systems. So when you are discussing undergrad and master and PhD courses, there are lots of regulations. But if you are able to create research structures, we are able to work together in our expertises. And if we work together on research, this affects our undergrad students, master and PhD students, but also undergrad students. So it's a way to discuss information system related subjects, even if we don't have so much space in the curriculum like we had in the past. That is exactly the case in my university.
Well, guys, I have to ask for Aurora's apologies here, because she had prepared a beautiful set of slides that would that would at least organize our discussion here better. Yeah. And I arrived in the room before her and screwed everything. But anyway, Aurora, I don't know if you have any final words for our audience here. And
yeah, I think one of the most important issues is some question that we as IAS professionals need to ask about what do we want to achieve for our students in the future, because the field is changing so much. There's so many new technologies. Everything is changing. Or you say data is so important, but also artificial intelligence is there. Also, we have a increasing robotic, and also we are coming into more interdisciplinary disciplines with most areas that and biology. So our question is, what we need to keep, what we need to think for the future to change, and what are the decisions that we need to have for our successful students. So that's an interesting question, because the issue here is how we make a better professionals in AIS.
I don't know about our students, but the feeling I have about myself is that I would have to get into an undergrad degree in philosophy to start discussing information systems in a better way in the future, because I think it's not a matter of implementing gadgets any longer. It is deciding where do we want to go with all the technology that we are developing. Exactly. But anyway, all right. Well, guys, I guess thank you very much for being with us until this time today. Tomorrow is a clone of today in terms of structure. We'll start with parallel sessions some time earlier, and then later in the afternoon here in Brazil. I don't know at what time for you, but at this time we'll have again a keynote and our second panel. So hope to see you all back tomorrow. Bye.